if I took off on a 45-day adventure across the country. I didn't have a planned route. I didn't know the communities I was biking through. I didn't know if there was a campground. I didn't know if the hotels would be available. So this part of the trip, I'm starting to get into a rhythm, and I'm realizing like it's all about checkpoints. Okay, it's raining. Well, we're gonna go hard until lunch. Okay, well, geez, I got 50 miles. Well, we're gonna go hard for an hour, and it's setting attainable goals that I know I can meet.
As far as the eyes can see, we're headed east. 95 miles to Texas today. We'll be in El Paso. May take a rest break tomorrow. However, it's only a 40-mile day tomorrow, so may just push it out. We shall see.
I didn't have any footage of him, but I met a gentleman named Doug who is referenced in a book called Suits to Saddle. And it was a really great book, and he's in that book. And it was so cool meeting someone that I had read about prior to the trip on the trip. And that gentleman taught me so much, right? And he was like, if you're not on a scenic route, Kurt, you could just go down the highway into El Paso and save like 400 miles. And so instead of a 3,000 mile trip, I managed to hit it in about 2,500 miles. And it was because I committed to going down this highway for, you know, a few days straight, it seemed like. And yeah, just in this moment, I just realized, like, as far as the eye can see, like, all right, we're gonna be on a highway. And a little part of me regretted not going over the divide. Like, that would have been a pretty memorable moment. But at the same time, I wanted to get home to my girls, and the objective was to head east, and that was our mission. So we left the traditional route and decided to make our own again.
It's like Rocky Mountains. Oh, and that's Mexico right there to my right. So I'm looking at the Continental Divide in Mexico. Mile 133, Dad.
All right, so the closer to Mexico we got, this was very common. So what the Border Patrol told me is people will, you know, let's just have, say, criminal activity, and they burn the car afterwards. So these are all hot spots. So it's very common in this area where people will come through and whatever they're involved in, or who knows what, just light up these cars. So like you'll see where the aluminum is melted, and maybe it was a car wreck, but I saw at least 15 or 20 of these. And when I went through a border crossing one time, I literally had a conversation with them, or a checkpoint of some sort, and I was like, what is all these, like, is it just from car accidents? And they're like, no, they're like intentionally like burned cars typically. And it just was like, oh, that's great. So those sort of thoughts creep into your head when you're by yourself in the middle of nowhere, and you're like, man, we're just a whole different climate than I'm used to. And you know, but that was like a realization when I go through those, I need to be really cautious of sharp metal and flats, and there's so much debris on this road. Just this section alone, you can see so many things in the road, and it's just, this highway was really dangerous for that reason.
Thousands of cows. Rest in peace, Pop. Thinking about you, buddy.
This was a pretty inspiring moment. You know, you start thinking about, my grandfather had passed away shortly prior to this, and he was a dairy farmer, and he started the first automated dairy farm in the state of Maine, actually. And all my grandfathers, veterans, and just always adventurers, and just seeing right here and just thinking back of them and looking at the Great Divide, I was really present in this moment, and just like, be grateful. Like, how many people get to bike America, you know, when they're 29 years old, and just, it just was a little bit of a surreal feeling while I'm on a busy highway, you know.
We're in Texas, baby! Yeah, 1/3 complete! Oh my God, this is incredible. I can't even believe it. Oh my God. Hello, Texas.
To get to Texas, essentially marked 1/3 of the trip was complete, right? So we're on day 12 here, so we are just over a third. And I was about to meet up with my veteran buddies. I was about to meet up with my wife's uncle. I was about to meet up with a doctor I deployed with. And I had so much to look forward to.
All right, here we go. Last half mile of a 95.4 mile day. And in the last 3 miles, I've climbed 500 feet of elevation. So it's a good day.
The first 3 days, I had no idea, right? And I'm panicking. And then 5 days, okay, I got a little more idea. I started doing every 3 days. Well, now, day 12, I had time to relax in Dr. Dabrowski's house and really forecast my whole trip. And we left that house recharged and ready to go.
Paso. Great city. Yo, what's up, Mexico? Look at that wall.
So this part of the trip, I'm starting to get into a rhythm, and I'm realizing it's all about checkpoints. Okay, it's raining. Well, we're gonna go hard until lunch. Okay, well, geez, I got 50 miles. Well, we're gonna go hard for an hour. And it's setting attainable goals that I know I can meet.
Touring the country with no gear, not like a support group.
Here I am on the highway just looking over them and just kind of envious of their drafting each other, their technique, their equipment. They just looked fresh, and I was looking forward to meeting these guys. And we ultimately, the next few days, we really enjoyed ourselves. I did ride with these guys for a while, and it was a lot of fun.
How you doing? I am a student. Go ahead. Thank you. Slow it down a little bit with that wind. Wind advisory today. I got accused of being an e-bike by somebody the other day because I passed it so fast.
This is the first cyclist that I've met with no gear. Their bikes are 18 pounds compared to my 80-pound bike, and right here when I pass them, I'm a little arrogant. I'm like, yeah, what's up? Like, this is me. I'm by myself. I don't have a support group, but I'm keeping up. And before I knew who they were, it was just like that competitiveness on the trip showing a little bit here. It was fun.
It's a new day in Texas. Following Route 90 east into Where are we going, Kristen? Martha! Look at these views.
A lot of people, when they hear, oh, you're biking America and you have 2 kids and a wife, what in the world? Like, how are you just leaving your family for 30 to 45 days? And a lot of people didn't understand that this was a family decision. My whole family was so in tune with this whole project. And right here, I have my wife in my ear and talking, and I'm trying to do some dialogue with the camera and recording the nice views. And I'm trying, where am I going, honey? You know, like she literally was like, and then 2 seconds later, Martha, you know, she just updated me. She constantly was always in my ear telling me, hey, this restaurant's coming up for lunch, and you know, this would be a healthy option for you. So when I'd walk into that restaurant, I didn't even need to look at the menu. I knew, okay, hey, I'm gonna get the baked chicken, broccoli, mashed potatoes. And I was on the road. Like the littlest time I could spend at each trip always helped, you know, and knowing, okay, 3 miles, I have a Pizza Hut coming up and I'm gonna carb overload, and just having her in my ear, she was so in tune and such a major part of the trip that a lot of people I don't think realize how involved she was. This wasn't just a journey away from my family, it was a journey with my family. Now, day 15, I am in my element. My body's feeling good, I'm finding my rhythm, and I'm in Texas, a state I've always wanted to be. I'm looking at big mountains, I'm in a desert. I guess the weight of fear of all the what ifs of am I going to be able to do this started to kind of leave a little bit, and it was like, oh, if I just keep focused, then I should be able to enjoy this ride. I have a bad breakdown right here, and where are you gonna go? There's no bike shop. It was a little intimidating looking straight as far as my eyes could see and seeing nothing. It's like, yeah, it says 30 miles to go, but I hope it's not 60. It was a complete dead zone. I had no cell service, and then I had a flat, but I had just changed a flat and I was gonna have to do a legit tube patch on it and not just have a brand new tire to throw on quickly. So every 5 miles I had to pump up air, and then I'd go another 5 miles and pump up air, and I was just hoping to get to someplace with cell service and someplace, maybe a bike shop, and then actually be able to get comfortable after, you know, a long day of cycling.
Here we are, sheltered in some sort of barn at this campground I was supposed to stay in, and trying to do a patch kit before anyone else comes along. Adapt and overcome when you're in the desert with high winds.
I just need to get out of the wind, and hoping that someone's not just gonna be like, what are you doing in my barn, you know? And I was a little intimidated, but at the end of it, I actually really enjoyed myself after that, because it was a sink available, so I was able to fill the tube with air, put it underneath water and rotate the tube and see bubbles coming out. Okay, I gotta patch that. I patched my tube, and I had my bike really tip top to go back out into the windstorm after this. But it seemed like it was worth the risk, you know, hunker down in a random barn and get my bike fixed the right way. And if I had to meet a stranger, I was hoping to ask for forgiveness instead of permission, I guess.